like, is resignation the right word? Like when you just sort of like your pain is high and you're just sort of resigned to experiencing it as long as it lasts. Is that sort of how it used to be?
Pretty much, because I didn't. Most of us, we don't have the knowledge to.
Yeah, yeah.
We're at the mercy of the pain. We're at the mercy of what the doctors
Mm-hmm.
tell us to do. Like I had it said to me, and I hear people talk about it as well, where a chiropractor or somebody like that will tell the person, "Don't move.
Right.
If you move, you could injure yourself worse."
Mm-hmm.
And when I would hear that, I would always go back to fear. Okay, well, I'm feeling those feelings, and this authority told me if I move, I'm going to get worse, and I would not move.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
missed out on a lot of things because of that. And again, good intentions. And I'm not
Yes.
saying for some people that may be acceptable, and if they move, they may end up being paralyzed. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I just know for me, when I heard that, it instilled fear in my life,
Yeah.
and it restricted me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then the other piece you mentioned there is, and it might be tied to what you're just saying, like the things that you heard, your mind would go to that worst case scenario, like what might
Mm-hmm.
be the kind of bad outcome.
Right.
And now, kind of what I'm taking from what you're saying is like almost like everything feels a little bit more balanced.
Right.
Like you're not like, there still might be outcomes that I'm not desiring.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and and I'm just going to kind of find a way to move forward and live my life as it unfolds right now.
Right.
Is that?
That's a good, yeah. So I'll give you another example. In 2018, I had my first neck surgery, and dealing with the insurance company, and I had a certain surgeon that I wanted to do it. The insurance company denied it. They were like 30 minutes away. I had to end up going almost 2 hours away to another surgeon that I didn't know or anything. So I was highly stressed out. Never had a major surgery like that. I came out of that surgery and I was emotional. Anesthesia messes with you anyway. And I mean, I was afraid. My wife was afraid because she saw how I was responding and stuff. So fast forward to 2022, when I had my next neck surgery, it was completely different. I was calm going in. I was calm coming out. I knew what to.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very similar surgery, so I knew what to expect as far as recovery.
Yeah.
But I was just in a different state of mind.
Mm-hmm. So is that another piece that's different now? Is just like a calmer state of mind?
I think so.
Yeah.
I do. I've always been on the outside. Everybody says you're just so calm and collected, and on the
Mm-hmm.
inside, I've always been high strung.
Right.
So I think it's finally meshing a little bit more than I am calming down on the inside the way that people think I am on the outside.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what's that like?
I'm able to rest better.
Okay.
I'm a lot more calmer, a lot more at peace with the things that I can't control, and more empowered for the things that I can control. I guess that would be the best way to say it.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of that serenity prayer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that kind of land in terms of the way you're
I
moving
hadn't thought of
forward?
yeah, I
Yeah.
hadn't thought about that, but yeah, I think
Yeah.
that summarizes it pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Um, with the piece that you sent me, I had two things that I was curious about. One was just like when you say like being able to participate in life, and you mentioned as we were talking about sort of, I think what I reflected back is just sort of like doing the basics in life. Like you were able to work, you were able to, kind of go out and, do work in the yard or whatever it might be, but there was a high cost and that was sort of like it. And so when
Mm-hmm.
you say participate in life, What does that mean to you, being able to participate in life?
Being able to get the things done that need to be done, enjoy the things that I'm able to do, and not worry about the next few days that I'm going to be laid up because I overdid it, I twisted wrong, I bent down wrong, or something like that. I'm really not worried about it anymore.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I guess I shouldn't say that I'm really not worried about it anymore. I can feel myself when I start to want to think like that, and I'm able to stop myself. I guess that would be better to say.
Okay. Okay.
So like, I've stood up, over the last 2 years, and sometimes I'll feel my lower back catch, and it's like, it's hard to describe it. It's almost like a sharp, like a needle feeling or something like that. And you would catch yourself, and then I would immediately would want to go to the extreme. Don't move, don't do anything. What's going to happen? And now it's like, if I have that feeling again, it's just like I'm grounding myself. I'll take a breath and I'll move into it. So like I felt my back catch, and instead of just tensing up, I'll move into it. I'll do some light stretching, or I'll do some light twisting. So to reassure my body, yeah, that's a feeling, but it's okay. So it's telling my brain, it's telling my body, don't go to where you used to go.
Yeah.
Just breathe, move slowly. It's all right.
And just to make sure I'm understanding you correctly, like when you feel that catch in your back, there might still be an initial flare of kind of worry, but you see it and you guide yourself in a different direction.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas like it previously, would it almost be like you didn't quite see it in the same way? You just fell into the worry.
I think it's because I had conditioned myself over the years, because every flare up always led to more pain, suffering. So I think over the years, I just got to the point where if you felt that catch, or you felt something negative in your lower back, well, the answer is don't move. Hurry up and sit down. Hurry up and just stabilize yourself and don't do anything. Where now it's, all right, I feel a sensation. Let's be proactive about it. Let's not stop living, but let's keep on going.
Almost like you're in the active process of conditioning yourself in a new way.
Right.
Is that,
yeah.
Does that land in terms of?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this participating, what came to mind for me is, as you shared it, was almost this capacity to just be present and enjoy what you're doing, in contrast to what used to be more of an experience of almost in the midst of doing it, like fast forwarding into the days to come around how what you were doing was going to impact those days. Is that right? And now you can just be in what you're doing?
Right.
Yeah. So is like, does the idea of being present? That's kind of what comes up for me. I'm just wondering if that lands for you. Like you can just be more present in what you're doing.
It is. And I think that, I know that it goes back to the coaching training, where as a coach, when I'm listening to somebody, I'm supposed to be actively present with them, listening to them, able to talk to them, able to coach them. So I guess you could say I'm coaching myself.
Yeah.
That would be the best way to describe it.
So it's almost like these skills that you learned to try and support others are helping you support yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then the other thing that I was curious about there was the turtle, because you told me that was your nickname, and then you included a picture of a turtle. And I was just wondering, Does the turtle symbolize something, or is there meaning in the turtle?
For me, and I thought about it when I was sending you the little picture,
Mm-hmm.
the shell is the turtle's safety. So around here we have box turtles. I don't know if you have them up in Canada or not. So, they can pull themselves completely into their shell and box tight. I mean, animals can't get them out of the shell or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at that as safety. So I have learned to be safe in this body it's broken, it's deteriorating, but I can still be safe in it too.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that shell, I'm able to stretch out. I'm able to live my life, but I still have the safety that I can feel within this body, even though I still got the issues that go on, and everybody's got issues.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way I look at it. I've got the shell for safety, but I can stretch out and I can be me. I can live my life.
Yeah. So is safety, is that another piece that's different now in comparison to the past?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It, I don't want to say for all chronic pain, especially those with us who have lower back, but it's hard to feel safe when you think every movement, especially for me as a guy, lifting up on something, doing what we feel like we're supposed to be doing as a husband, as a father, and not feeling safe because every single movement, is it going to send a shockwave? Is it going to put me on my knees? Is it going to put me in potentially another surgery or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
So I think safety is a big part of it, that now I can move in safety. I mean, before we got on this call, I worked out. I did some exercises, and today's back day for me, so I did back exercises. And I didn't hesitate to bend over. I didn't hesitate to get on. I got a little rebounder trampoline in the basement and bounce up and down, things that I would not have done 5 years ago, because in my mind, if I'm bouncing up and down, I'm putting pressure on my back, and I'm going to pay for it if I do that.
Right, right.
Where now, I mean, I feel safe. I feel like I can do these things without any issues.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's another layer to me, to this time when you were like really defined by the pain. There was also almost this like constant sense of not being safe, because any little like misstep or like lean forward could take you out.
Right.
And now in this sort of, I don't know, like more spacious sense of not being so defined by pain, or not being defined by pain, you're not scared to move.
Right.
And that absence of being scared to move, does that really help? Because you described like the differences of how it used to be that, like say your back would catch and you'd be like, I need to stop moving. And now your back catches and you're like, okay, like I forget the exact language. I think you use like move into it. And talked about like doing like gentle twists and things like that. So that safety around movement, is that kind of really a part of being able to move through those moments differently as well?
It is. Yeah.
Okay. So safety, being less defined by pain, being able to be more present in your experience. And I imagine the safety and that presence relate in a really intricated way. Yeah. Any other pieces that feel like kind of a defining difference between how things were before and how they've been in the past couple of years that we haven't kind of woven into that story yet?
I think probably the only other piece of the puzzle that I would think of would be my dad's own journey with his chronic pain. And I won't go into any of that or into much of that, but basically he lived with excruciating chronic spine pain, lower back pain. He had multiple surgeries, treatments. He was one of the test subjects for the spinal cord stimulators when they first came out. And I mean, he just suffered till he passed away. So in my mind, when my back first started really giving me issues, I was like, am I going to be like him? So again, just that fear factor.
Yes.
Seeing he missed out on so much, and again, it wasn't his fault.
Mm-hmm.
So I was afraid to be like him.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine like a sense, sometimes with people in our family, there can be almost a sense of like the person going before predicting how things are going to unfold for us.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was woven in. And I'm just guessing based on the kind of timing of how you brought this up that you're not scared of that anymore.
I learned a lot from him. And, I didn't want to be like it. And I think that has pushed me to where I am now as far as wanting to help others in our situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because I couldn't help him.
It's painful to touch in. It's maybe the possibility that some of what you've learned, if your dad had had the opportunity that his life could have been different. And in that, this real motivation to help others in similar situations find a different path.
It definitely is. I feel like you're my therapist today.
I'm wondering, based on what you just shared, is a sense of purpose something that's different right now as well? It sounds like you have there's some meaning and a sense of purpose in wanting to help others who are in situations like you and your dad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I told my wife, I was like, I've done this for me, the learning, certifications, all of that. And it's definitely helped me. But I've done it in honor of him.
Yeah. And what's that like to name that, as much as this is serving and supporting you, that it's been in honor of your dad?
Just remembering, even though he was in, intense chronic pain, he still tried to live his life. he helped people.
Mm-hmm.
He'd get out and do as much as he could. But again, in my mind, the way that I was too, if he did something this day, then for him, almost a week, he would be in the bed. So he missed out on a lot. But he tried his best with what he knew, considering what he had been through. He tried his best to live a seemingly reasonable life. So for me, to honor him is to take what I know now and share it with as many people as I can that are going through similar situations as us.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm struck as you share that your dad, despite it all, really persisted in trying to engage in life. Yeah.
He was different than me. I mean, he was quiet like I am. I got that from him. But I never heard him complain.
Okay.
Now, my mom may have. I didn't really ask her how much did he complain or anything, but I never really heard him complain, even though I was around him most of the time because I just had that knack for taking care of people.
Yeah.
My brother and my sister, they couldn't handle it, especially my brother. So I was usually the one that my mom would call. I'd go down there and help him out and stuff. But I never heard him complain. You could see that he was frustrated, but I never heard him complain. Where with me, I'll complain. My wife's heard it over the years. I've tried not to show it in front of our daughter, but my wife has definitely heard me complain. So in that, he was different, at least as far as I could tell. Now, he may have complained to my mom all the time. I don't know.
Yeah, but not to you.
No, he never. Even when he was in the hospital, he wasn't complaining.
Okay. Thank you for adding that piece. That's a really rich piece, that there's a lot of meaning and purpose and honoring of your dad in not just kind of living out what you've learned in your own life, but in extending it and sharing it with others. On that kind of note, one of the other things that I wanted to bring up is just you've mentioned like really kind of feeling like at no one's fault the healthcare system just kind of wasn't set up to support people navigating more chronic pain, chronic conditions. And I wonder, like just thinking about social factors like relationships and healthcare and culture and gender and money and the roles we play in our lives. Are there any pieces there that stand out to you in terms of things that either played a role in you kind of staying in that kind of struggling pace for as long as you did, or actually really played a role in helping you shift into this time where you feel like you're living well in the face of it all?
I think for me, because of the way my personality is, I'm a very introverted person. And then just the way our culture is as far as men in the South and so forth. You don't really go to the doctor much. You don't really talk about your issues. So, I don't know. Maybe if I had been proactive years ago, I would have found these other options. I don't even know if the options were out there as far as health and wellness coaching, pain coaching. I don't even know if it was out there back then. But I think it's just my personality and then the way that we're raised in general down, in the South and what's expected of us as guys. That I'm sure that played a factor in it.
Yes. Yeah.
And then when you do go to the doctors, at least in my experience, I know they're overwhelmed with how many